just learned of my birth mother's death. Apparently she died on August 29th. Today's September 7th. I don't have any more information other than she died unexpectedly at such and such hospital. And the thing is, since disconnecting with the birth family, I've checked obituaries like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 times a year or less as each year passes, and mostly with like my designated families, like the grandmother and my father, my brother, and then occasionally my birth mother, but I was more so focused on my grandmother. And I just didn't want to pour any energy into my birth mother in particular, because I already knew what her fate was. There were too many negative reward systems for her to have any good feeling on the surface, reason to change her behavior. So I knew she was sticking to a futile life, futile existence. And I spent the last 2 years in particular, when I've thought about her passing, that I would keep my vow of silence if I was there when it happened. In those daydreams, it'd be a situation where she comes to stalk me, and then something happens with law enforcement or something, fitting the theme of traumatic. And her going, and me after she's gone, just saying to myself in my own mind, or maybe aloud, you can try again in the next life. You can try again. I continue to wish her well, especially with everything she had done. And I'm not sad because she was my mother. I'm sad because what does a child have to go through to be that cruel of a person in your behaviors? Didn't embody all of her essence, but it was the face of her efforts to be cruel towards other humans. And the thing is, I can answer that question of what does it take, because she projected those cruelties onto me. I don't have to imagine what happened to her. She did those things to me to give herself a sense of control. A false sense of retribution and payback for what had been done to her in her childhood. That doesn't dismiss her part in that, what is her soul's duty to be accountable for. And I find the timing to be very interesting. The women in particular live to be considerably older in our birth family. The men die very young. And she didn't live up to that age. She didn't live up to the pattern. 15-20 minutes ago at this point when I just saw that obituary post on the obituary website. The thing is, I was looking up her birthday. I was watching a reading. Cosmic Kin on YouTube. Very good reader. They mentioned October 3rd, and I forgot what her birthday was. I knew it was somewhere in October, I'm pretty sure at the beginning, and so I typed in her name, birthday. And then the first thing that came up was obituary, died August 29th, 2025. And I didn't believe it. So then I typed in obituary, and sure enough, there were several websites that confirmed that. It's, in a dark way, funny to me that the first time I go to look up something kind of on the opposing end of that, and then finally that confirmation of her passing comes up then, of all times. It's interesting how those paradoxes work. And the divine timing coming in with my healing, my closure. I finally voiced the last piece of what she had done to my body, to my therapist just last week. And have got the wheels rolling on my surgery, tethered cord release. Finally got to the roots of the problems that were going on, and my Reiki master teacher taught me we have the physical body, mental body, spiritual body. I personally believe there's mental body, physical body, mental body, emotional body, spiritual body. And when those things aren't addressed in the outer layers, those emotions come in, and then thought forms. If we don't address it then, over time that becomes physical disease. And when I was attuned to level 3, master level Reiki, for the traditional Shiki, in that meditation space, I had envisioned a dagger in my root chakra. And shortly after, I performed what's called psychic surgery. And the thing is, the physical takes longer to manifest. It just is the way of this realm, this dimension. And I believe that psychic surgery has come to manifest in form through my tethered cord release. It doesn't change the fact that I'm a bendy person with HEDS, but I was born with that spinal cord injury. It hadn't gotten addressed, and it presents at the root. And the fact that I'm quite literally going to be cut open at that area is all very symbolic. Because I've been in therapy since I was 12. I've been doing therapeutic work with the root cause being my birth mother and all the things that she had done to me and the family in general, but I was the scapegoat. I finally confessed to myself first, and then my counselor, who's been with me for ever since I had cut ties. He was there when I had my drafted letter that I had left in that car. I read it to him first. I read it to him before doing it. And my birth mother did not only verbally sexually abuse me, as I had mentioned in my story, she had raped me as a child. Thankfully, I have a lot of exposure work behind me to address this final piece, this final emotion, energy emotion, moving it through. I think this is all perfect timing. That I should have this surgery. That now is the time that the unconscious has come forward to be cleared with that therapy, both the physical of surgery and what I have just spoken on. I couldn't have written it better myself. And we each write our own reality. So I don't feel a bit of everything. And it's not really surprising to me. I've thought about her passing for so long, and not in any sort of brutal, retaliatory way, but in the sense of just, when will be the day that I have physical dimensional peace in knowing she can never come after me again, that she can never say or do anything to me again. And I had conflicting things with, not conflicting, but in that same plane of thought, I acknowledge that there is nothing more that she could ever say or do to me. Nothing could be worse than me having been a child and experiencing any of those things. I can protect myself now. I know I don't have to verbally defend myself. I owe nothing. Owed nothing. I want to acknowledge out loud now how brave a person I am. That I spoke out about my story before her passing, even though I had told myself for most of those years that I would never speak about any of this until after she was gone. I don't mean like using the phrase gone, because she's always just been gone. As long as I had known her. She never really lived. And that's what saddens me. Not what my supposed relation was to her, but just knowing that there was so much potential there. She used none of it. She twisted it and used it in darker ways that didn't serve anyone. Didn't serve herself. In any higher way. So, regarding the death of my birth mother, I feel nothing. And that's not dissociative or shock or numbing. I've been at peace with that for quite some time. I just wanted her to get better. That's all I ever wanted for her and everyone. Not just in that family, everyone. That's all I ever want for everyone. And some people just aren't ready to do that yet on their soul's journey. We always get to try again. Love is the only real thing. anything else that falls away wasn't real. Karma will always keep the balance. Karma will always keep love in the forefront. I spent so many years thinking in a way that supported the idea that death would free me from her. But the reality is I needed to free myself before that could happen in timing. To everyone who's ever suffered, so everyone, namely humans, because we're just animals with ego. Ego is, when not addressed through shadow work, suffering manifested. To everyone who's ever suffered, I love you. As each of our own responsibility to free ourselves. And through that we free and heal others. Now I can rest in peace.